Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Wishwell Farms. I just got done transplanting some more seedlings. This is seeding number 3. It's the second part of our second greenhouse. We split our big greenhouse that holds 1,000 plants into 2 plantings. So I've just transplanted 48 more trays. Geronimo, Novero, Torero, Ondero, and Ferraria. So it's a beautiful day to be out here in the greenhouse and spending some time outside. Now let me show you what is going on in our other greenhouse. Just a little setback that I have to repair here. I was flushing out the main line. It comes out over here. I just turn this valve on and flush out all the junk that settles in the lines. And came over here after I was done and saw this big wet spot. So I started digging, and it looks like this pipe, this 1-inch pipe, has cracked all the way back. And I think it's because I had this riser shut-off valve turned off. So it didn't allow the water to drain out of here when I blew the air out. I think water was kind of trapped in here all winter, and you can see it's only about 4 or 5 inches deep. So it froze and it cracked. So I'm gonna work on repairing that so I can flush these lines, because we're ready to transplant in here. I got so much junk on the line, I can't tell where it started cracking. Unfortunately, it's cracked all the way to the T. I was hoping it would like not crack beyond like right here so I could save the T. But since it's cracked all the way back, I think I'm gonna have to cut out the entire T and replace all of that. Shoot. My lucky day, I had everything I needed on hand. Some 1-inch PVC, had a couple couplers, I found a T, and a full stick of 1-inch PVC. I got my cutters, primer, cleaner, and glue. I'm gonna work on getting all this repaired so I can flush all these lines and be one step closer to another transplant day. Okay, I think I'm ready to put the final piece in. The problem with repairing this, with it being in the middle, is that I had to dig up the entire line. So it had some movement so I could slide it that way and then slide it back when I put this piece in to connect this. I got just a little bit of give there, and now I can get it in. My cutters are getting a little dull. Time for a replacement. All right, my glue's a little gelatinous, but it has been working, so we're gonna go ahead and use it. It got frozen over the winter, so it's not really runny and liquidy like it's supposed to be, but it's still working. All right, I'm gonna put this piece in first. Too long. Shoot, it's pulling up the other side. All right. Well, unfortunately, I don't have all the parts to be able to finish this. I don't even have a 90-degree 1-inch. So I'm gonna have to go to Lowe's and get that, and then this reducer down to 3/4 inch. And I'm out of valves, and I'm out of these pieces here, 3/4 inch slip to thread it on the other side. So tomorrow I'll go to Lowe's and get the rest of the supplies I need to get this finished up, because it's going to be beautiful all week, and I want to get this greenhouse ready to go. But at least we got a good start on it. That's all repaired all the way to where the riser goes. I just need a few parts to finish that up. Well, since I can't finish the repairs here, I'm just going to go on in and enjoy the rest of my Sunday afternoon and evening with family. Maybe do a little editing, and I will see you all tomorrow morning bright and early for the start of another week. Good morning, everyone. It's the start of another week, and we're going to kick things off with transplanting grape tomatoes. This is where the grape tomato magic's going to take place, and it's still a little chilly in here. I didn't turn the heat on because the sun is going to be out in full force today. Right now it's only 40 in here. As soon as the sun comes up over the barn, it'll warm things up in here nicely. and make it a nice, comfortable, warm environment to work in. So we got to put some bamboo stakes in the grape tomatoes first. They are getting pretty tall. Some are 16 to 18 inches tall. They're starting to fall over. So we're going to put some bamboo stakes and ring clips on them, and then we'll bring them down here and get them transplanted. And I will turn on the heat for the first time tonight. I did test it the other day, so it does work. That's a good thing, but we have not started using the heat in here yet. I will wait until we get them transplanted. I've thought about skipping the bamboo stakes and just bringing them down here and running the first line of tomato twine using the Florida weave system. But these things are going to be falling all over the place because they're just too tall. So I think it's best to put the stakes in, and then I won't have to run the strings down here for a week or two until they start outgrowing the bamboo stake, and then we'll have to string them up. I've really been looking forward to this weather we're getting ready to have this week. It's going to be so nice out, full sunshine and mid 60s. So it's going to be really nice and feel like spring. All right. You can see how huge these grape tomatoes are getting. They're staying up pretty nice on their own right now, but I have a feeling that when we start moving them around and putting them in the box truck to haul them down to the grape house, they're going to start falling over. So it won't take me and Emma very long to put the stakes in this row here and then this little block of tomatoes here. See, this one here is falling over. Yes, I could probably transplant them without bamboo staking them, but there's just too much risk of injuring the plant, damaging the plant, or stripping off leaves in the moving process from this house to the next one. So I think 15-20 minutes we'll have all the bamboo stakes and clip rings on, and then they will be ready to load in the box truck to take down to the grape house. So I'm just pushing the bamboo stakes down in the rock wool cubes, almost to the bottom. If you go all the way through, the stake will slide all the way through and fall out the bottom when you pick it up. So about 2 inches into the cube. And then we'll come back and put the clips on, the clip rings. Sometimes I call them ring clips, but I think the actual term is clip ring, at least on the brand I use. Morning. We're gonna have to stake these up first. Okay. All right, here's our bucket of clip rings. It's just a piece of plastic. You squeeze it on one end and it opens it up to go around the bamboo stake and the plant. Works great. It's like a one-time use ring. As they're so cheap, you can just throw them out with the plants at the end of the season. So I usually try to clip about 2/3 of the way up the plant. Just grab the plant, pop it on the ring, or the stake. So I'll put it around the plant, pull it to the stake, and you just release it. It works so good. It's so quick and simple. Once the plants are strung up, we will remove the bamboo stakes, but I never waste my time removing the clips because they are so cheap, and it would be very, very time consuming to try to remove all those to reuse them. I will look up the cost and throw it up on the screen right now, but I'm pretty certain they are very inexpensive and not worth trying to save. All right, we're gonna finish putting bamboo stakes and clip rings on these 350 grape tomato plants, and then we will begin loading them up onto that box truck for the move down to the grape house. All right, we're ready to start loading plants. into the box truck. It's finally warming up a little bit. Feels like it's approaching 50, so it's safe enough to move plants now. Yeah, if we hadn't put these stakes in, these plants would have been flopping all over the place and probably get damaged.
Keep going further back.
Hey, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that'd probably be far enough right there. Time to move some plants. We haven't had rain for maybe a week, so hopefully it's dry enough down there. I've gotten stuck down here before, backing up to the greenhouse. It gets really soft, but I think it's firm enough today. We will soon find out. All right, time to be put in your new home. So we have 27 bags per row, times 3. I think it's 87, something like that. So we're gonna put a flat of 10 down for every 3 bags. So Emma put the first one there, and that'll get us to there. So I'll place the next one right here, and that'll be good for the next 3 bags. All right, we have all of our grape tomatoes in the greenhouse. I'm gonna show you the planting process we use to put the grape tomatoes in rock wool cubes into the coconut coir husk grow bags. So as you can see, these grow bags are just ground up husk of an actual coconut. It's a great growing medium. So we're gonna take the dripper out that was placed in there to rehydrate the slab, because originally when they got shipped, they look like this. See how they're dry and compressed? So we had to rehydrate them so they're ready for planting. Take the dripper out, make sure our hole is nice and square to receive the plant. Look underneath there. Look at all those roots that have been air pruned. Beautiful. And then we're just gonna stick it in there. I'm gonna put the camera down so I can use both hands here. So we just wanna make sure it's roughed up a little bit and not too hard packed, and that it's level. We don't want a hump in it, because we want good root contact with that husk. And then even though the stake, the bamboo stake, won't go down in the husk because it's just a big tangled block, it won't go down in there very easy. I will push it on through the block and try to wedge it in there just a little bit to help anchor it, to hold it steady. So that's all it takes. Just want to make sure there's no plastic under the cube, and that it has good contact on all 4 corners, and that it's straight up and down. That's the big thing. We're going to repeat the process 87 times on each of these 3 rows. Now these 3 rows over here are not getting grape tomatoes this year. In the past, this whole greenhouse has been grape tomatoes. That's why we call it the grape house. For the last 2 years, I think, we were just doing 4 rows of grapes and a row or 2 of determinate field tomatoes. This year we're going to do 3 rows of determinate field tomatoes. Red Deuce will be going over here. So we've been scaling back on our grape tomato production just a little bit just 3 rows this year and only 1 planting. I normally do 2 plantings. 4 rows would be planting 1, and then the last 2 rows would be planting 2, and they would be like being seeded right now. That way when these start winding down, we were moving into a new picking of bigger grape tomatoes, because they do get smaller after picking for about 5 or 6 weeks. But we've been having issues with them splitting and just the overall plant health, insects, and yes, all those things can be controlled and prevented and corrected, but we get so busy out in the fields picking our other vegetables, these kind of become an afterthought come late July, and we're ready to just wind them down, quit, and move into some other crops that are more, maybe not necessarily more profitable, but you know, when the other crops are ready, I have to have hands to pick them, and these kind of just get let go because the demand also goes down at the farmers markets. These are really popular from late May all through June until about mid-July, and then the demand really drops off because everybody and their brother can grow grape or cherry tomatoes, and you start seeing them pop up at all the different stands around the farmers markets, creating less demand for us. So that's kind of why we just pick them for about 6 or 8 weeks. The reason I'm pulling the drippers out is because we're going to turn the water on when we finish planting and check them all just to make sure they're all working, and then put them into the cubes like that. Usually we know they're all working and we actually just put them in as we plant, but I want to double check them because I did find about 3 or 4 yesterday that weren't flowing right, so I think it's a safer bet just to go ahead and check them all as we put them in today. We're going to be cutting it pretty close on if we have enough plants. I know we have enough, but I don't think we're going to have enough big ones. I think we're going to have to use some little runt tomato plants. Hopefully not too many. We just put all the drippers in row 1, and I'm fixing a few that were plugged up. I think there was 4. So I just pop it out with a pair of pliers like that and pop the new one in. Snap right in, put the hose back on. Well, first I want to make sure I can blow air through it. It is clear, and then pop it up into the cube. So we're picking up the dripper stakes off the ground, and that's what we want to see. A really fast drip, basically a constant stream. We're just sticking them in the cube and making sure we're not skipping any. So far, so good. Oh, there's one. It's bad. So I'm going to pop it off the dripper. And it is bad. There's no water coming out of it. I can blow through the hose. I'll come back and replace that after I turn off the water. Otherwise, it'll spray out everywhere. All right, all of the grape tomatoes have been planted. All the drippers are in. And now I want to test out the fan jet and the exhaust fans and louvers right here, just to make sure everything is running the way it should. I already tested out the heater. It's good to go. All right, so here's the fan jet thermostat. We'll just turn it up. Looks like that's good to go. And the exhaust fans. We'll turn them on right here. I got it set at about 78 to 80. We'll turn it down to 68. That'll turn them on. The louvers are opening up instantly, so that's good. And then I have a time delay on the exhaust fans. The reason I don't have those turn on at the exact same time is because I want to make sure those have time to open before there is a suction being pulled through. Because if those turned on immediately when the louvers came on, they might not get opened up all the way. There they go. And we have a problem. That one turned on, but this one didn't. Oh, there it goes. Ooh. That one don't sound too healthy. Better get the grease gun out for that one. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But at least everything's working. That's good. Well, I am currently at Lowe's, and I'm gonna run inside and grab some PVC parts so we can get that greenhouse fixed up and ready for planting. Just returned back to the farm, and I'm ready to get this greenhouse fixed up and ready to go. Man, it is hot in here, holy moly. I might have to roll the sides up just to work in here. It's like 85 degrees. All right, I'm gonna get busy repairing this riser, and then I'll bring it back when I'm ready to fire it up and pressurize it. We'll see if we have any leaks. All right, all repaired, ready to turn the water on. Let's go flip the switch and see what happens. All right, we're turning on irrigation number 2. All right, I'm flushing the main line first, just to make sure there's no junk in here. Looks pretty clean. There's the warm water coming through. We'll shut her off, build up pressure here. See what we got. Looks good. I don't see any leaks. All right, that's good news. I'm gonna rebury this line and then flush these 5 lines, get all the junk out, and hopefully transplant tomatoes in here later this week or the first of next week. All right, I'm here in the back of the greenhouse. I just turned the water on, and we're gonna see how dirty it is. I know it's gonna be like orange milk coming out of the lines, orangish brown. Even though I flush these lines out in the fall and it's crystal clear water coming out, there's always residue that ends up in the line somehow. It's there, look at this. Can you believe that? But it starts clearing up pretty quick. There, see, that one's almost clean already. So I'm gonna keep flushing it until that clears up and all those particles are gone. Once that clears up completely, I will go shut it off, refill it, make sure there's a bunch of oxidate in there. I'll cap these 5 lines off, pressurize it again, and try to force the oxidate water through these 1,000 woodpecker drippers out here to soak overnight and then hopefully break free any of the ones that aren't working currently. And I'll probably do that process twice during the week. And then at the end of the week or early next week, they should be ready to go. Still a lot of junk in there, but getting better. A lot better. I'm down here in greenhouse number 1, looking at one of our biggest tomato plants that we currently have. It's probably 20 inches tall, and the flower cluster or the buds are getting close to being ready to open. But if I compare these plants to prior year's plantings, we are probably about a week behind schedule. Normally by now, we have an entire greenhouse full of yellow flowers opened up and being pollinated. But I'm pretty confident if the weather continues to stay warm and sunny, you know, a little above normal, that gap should close. And I'm hopeful that we will be picking red, ripe, juicy tomatoes by mid-May. In the next video, or maybe the one after that, we will be seeding bell peppers. We're getting real close to getting ready to seed a lot of our field crops, and just got a lot of different things happening other than greenhouse work. I know you guys are probably getting a little tired of seeing everything always happening in the greenhouse, and I'm getting a little tired of it too. I'm ready to get out and do some other things around the farm, but it's coming soon, I promise. This is where we're gonna wrap this one up today, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all again real soon down on the farm.